Hey guys, Mr. McSweeney here to help you with rule of thirds. So what is rule of thirds? This is one of those rules, and we use the word rule loosely because when we talk about rules in photography, videography, or art in general, they are based on science of where people's eyes generally go or what people generally find appealing. But the thing with rules in art is that there are no rules in art, and so you can use this any way you want. Using the rule of thirds is one of the main things you'll ever learn about composition. And if you can focus on rule of thirds, you will almost always get a beautiful picture or a beautiful video. However, if you don't want to use the rule of thirds, that's totally fine. You just have to be very specific about not using it. Okay, so what is the rule of thirds? If you can imagine your screen has a tic-tac-toe board drawn on it, which would give you 3 vertical spaces and 3 horizontal spaces. All of those broken up, you get 9 boxes. That is kind of how we divide up a screen generally when we're talking about rule of thirds. The most interesting part is people typically focus on those spaces rather than the lines. And what I want you to do is to think about those lines as being more important. So for the rule of thirds, what you get is you get 4 lines and 4 intersecting points. When you're taking a picture or a video, it's a really great idea to find the most interesting object in that picture and place part of it, whatever the most interesting or important aspect of that, in one of those intersecting points. So behind me, we have a picture. In this picture, we see a lot of open space and we see this girl, and she is kind of in that lower left quarter of the screen. So if we put up our rule of thirds grid, you'll see that her head is right at that intersecting point. Just so you know, scientifically, people generally will always look for other people or animals in a picture first. The first thing that people will look for, either consciously or subconsciously, is an eye. Now in this picture behind me, there is no eye for them to see, but there is a head. And that is what people will look for. So if you place the head at that intersecting point, really at any of the intersecting points, you're gonna get a great picture. If you can place an eye in one of those intersecting points, then you're gonna get this really intimate, beautiful picture. Okay, so this is part of a bigger conversation about what composition is. So this is just one of the rules of many rules that you're gonna run into. You can also use those spaces, the vertical space and the horizontal spaces, not the lines, but the actual spaces to separate your pictures as well. In theory, you're basically just using those lines to separate, however you want to look at it. So let's say you're taking a picture of the beach. Sand in the bottom third, ocean or water in the middle third, and at the top you can have the sky. And that'll kind of use those rule of third lines as like an interesting thing. Now we live in Jupiter and we have this really big lighthouse here. What most people will do is they'll take a picture of the Jupiter lighthouse dead on and place that right in the center of their picture. Now, a more scientific approach to taking a picture of the lighthouse would be to place the lighthouse on either the left or that right vertical line. And at the top, there's a glass structure where the light actually comes out of. And if you can place that in one of the intersecting areas, then you're gonna get a scientifically better picture. And then you can go into the art of what you're doing, right? Is it a cloudy day? Is it a sunny day? Is it nighttime? Is it a storm? All of those will say different things about the lighthouse. So you use the art and science to get the best image or video that you can get. Start with rule of thirds. This is the most basic. And if you can, focus on those intersecting points and placing the most interesting item in one of those intersecting points. And that will help you achieve a much better picture. I hope this helps, and good luck.